Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Embittered Enugu State Governor summoned security operatives, accuses them of negligence, claims that he mobilized them after receiving intelligence report about herdsmen attack. Northern Governors Forum advocates restoration of civil authority in communities recaptured from insurgents in the northeast. Nigeria Labour Congress seeks improved workers' welfare, demands review of minimum wage and a permanent solution to the lingering fuel scarcity. And it's not over yet. A South Africa court rules that President Jacob Zuma has a case to answer on corruption. Do remember, all our top stories can be found on our website. It's channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And when you're done downloading, we do urge you to please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, our iOS and Windows platforms. If you've got pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, simply tap on the Channels TV app on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
We now bring you some of the pictures you sent into our Eyewitness portal. First is this one from Onitsha Enugu Federal Expressway in Anambra State, showing a bad road. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the government to rehabilitate this road. Followed by this picture of another bad road, but this time from Barracks area of Badagry in Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter is calling on the government to make the road possible. We also have this picture from Agaka area of Ilori, the Kwara State capital, showing a heap of refuse on a road divider. Our Eyewitness reporter is calling on residents to desist from this unwholesome act. And next is this one from Adegbeobada stretch in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, showing a collapsed bridge. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the government to repair the bridge. And finally, is this from Bagada area of Lagos State, showing men carrying a substance suspected to be fuel. Our Eyewitness reporter says that these are fuel black market operators and is asking concerned authorities to check this illegal act. We do sincerely thank you, of course, for sending in those pictures, as we ask that you keep them coming.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Ahead of the May Day celebration on Sunday, members of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have announced fresh demands from the federal government. Top of the list is a new national minimum wage, reversal of the current electricity tariff and a permanent solution to the lingering fuel prices. The Deputy President of the NLC, Mr. Pt.2, at a press conference in Abuja today, told journalists that current value of the naira in the market calls for the upward review of the national minimum wage. According to him, the nationwide rally on the first day of May will be the first step to publicly push these demands.
The May Day is an auspicious occasion for the working people to reflect on their struggles and make their demands. We shall use this opportunity to renew the call for the review of the national minimum wage that is overdue for review, considering the current economic trends. Inflation has increased, the naira has lost its value, and the current minimum wage has been completely eroded. Therefore, the need and urgency for a call for the review of the current national minimum wage. It is most pertinent to reiterate our calls for the suspension of the implementation of the recent increase in electricity tariff and for the government to put an end to the endemic fuel scarcity that has resulted in the unwanted long queues at the filling stations, leading to loss of man hours and bringing untold hardship on the workers and the masses who are already impoverished by the lack of electricity supply and the collapse of the energy sector.
And to give us a deeper insight into the clamour for a new minimum wage, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a former senior lecturer at the Caleb University, an external auditor, Dr. Ezekiel Adile. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the news at 10 at this time. The labour unions are now clamouring for a new minimum wage. That's what they want, given the economic situation of the country today, of course. Can the governors cope with this?
Looking at the demand of the workers, it can be justified in terms of the rising cost of living, and looking at the fact that the Naira too has been depreciated. But looking at the timing, the ability and the capacity of the government, the local government, the state governments, and the federal government, the timing is wrong. Most state governments are still struggling to pay the 18,000 Naira minimum wage that is ruling now. If we now have to compound it with the 56,000 minimum wage per worker that the union are asking for, it will cripple many state governments, especially this time that the income is dwindling. The price of oil is not as it was before. The government hasn't gotten the ability to pay the minimum wage. Definitely, the timing is wrong.
What other means would you suggest then that the governors toe? Already the government at the federal level is trying to diversify the economy. What should the governors be doing?
What the governors should be doing should be, the first thing will be for them to talk to the labor, to be able to show understanding that while we understand your plight, that the cost of living is rising, the timing of being able to pay, we do not have the capacity now. Secondly, you can improve on the benefits being given to labor. The three basic things of life is food, shelter, and housing. And I believe that if they could be able to do everything possible to reduce the cost of these items, it will go a long way. Rather than increasing the minimum wage, and we are just having increase in paper that is not able to command goods in the market. I believe that the governors should be looking at ways of empowering the workers, vis-a-vis ensuring that yes, the cost of living is reduced to the barest minimum.
Do you suppose that some of the governors are running out of ideas on how to bring up their internally generated revenue?
I believe that definitely. Because since the advent of oil, the ratio of the funds being generated internally has reduced to some states about 10%. Apart from Lagos and Rivers State that is able to generate IGR that is sufficient to meet their needs, apart from the funds coming from the federal government, most states are virtually depending on the allocation from the federal government. And this is not how it's supposed to be. In the 70s, where we have the North, we have the East, we have the Midwestern, and the West. Each one is able to develop their resources to the point where they are even contributing to the center. But these days, it's like we are waiting for Father Christmas to share the cake, and then we have it. And so the IGR is not being generated internally to help the states.
Let's look at some facts about the situation that we're faced with as a country. From the statement by the former finance minister, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the governors are informed about the need to save for today, but instead they preferred that the money accruing from the crude oil windfall be shared. Now it appears that the present crop of governors are making the same mistake. Does it seem that way to you?
Yes, it seems the same way to me, and what they are asking for is not the best, because sharing the excess that we have in the past, all to consume everything today, is not the best for the country. And what the governors are asking for is just because they are not creative, they are not able to look inward. Where is the groundnut that we have in the past? Where is the cocoa in the past? God has blessed this country with resources which we are not developing, but we are looking for the easiest way out. Only oil. And I believe that the oil will dry up one day. I think the governors should be looking inward. Let us see how we can improve the funds being generated internally. For instance, look at the taxes. They are thinking of increasing the tax rate. That's not a solution. VAT is currently 5%, value-added tax, and they're thinking of taking it down to 7% or 10%. I believe what they need to do is to sharpen the mechanism for collecting the taxes. Let us see that, yes, we introduce technology to getting these resources. Most local government and states are still doing these things in a manual manner. Instead of penalizing those few companies that are faithful, let us widen the tax bracket. And I believe if this is done, the reserves that is being made today will truly be reserves to really help this country in the near future.
What do you make of the bailouts to the state governments by the federal government? Does this surprise you at all?
Yes, it surprised me because I know that funds will be diverted, definitely. The ones that were given in the past, how was it spent? The funds were diverted. The funds were not spent for what it was meant for. And so they are out again, asking for another bailout again. And I believe bailout is not the key issue. The key issue is there should be evaluation and monitoring. When you have to assist a particular state to pay salaries of workers, there should be a team that will ensure that that fund has gone to, for the purpose for which it was given in the first instance.
Now, the labor unions are, on their part, already piling so much pressure on the state governors to implement a new minimum wage. If that does not happen, what do you think will be the situation before it draws into a full-blown strike? Because we have seen in the past it's heading that way.
Labour believes the only language that government can understand is strike. But I know that strike is not the best, because the man-hours and the multiply effects of the strike will definitely cripple the economy again and worsen the situation. What government should do, they should be proactive. Call the labor union, sit down at a roundtable meeting, explain the situation of revenues to them, and in the process, find a midpoint of improving the welfare of labor. It is not everything that has to do with increase in salary. I believe that if, for instance, governments could evolve a policy whereby your annual rental income is to enable you become a house owner, to go a long way, instead of you increasing the salary from X amount to Y amount and you are unable to command respect in the market. So I believe government should hold a meeting with the labor before they will go into a full-blown strike.
Dr. Ezekiel Adile, of course, an external auditor and a former senior lecturer at Caleb University. We do appreciate your thoughts on the subject. Many thanks indeed for talking to us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
And when the News at 10 returns, the traditional council of ancient Benin Kingdom formally announces the death of Oba Eridawa I. Join us again.